We all know that wind is a natural phenomenon. In this poem, the poet talks to the wind. The power of wind has been described, and the poet says that wind is destructive. He has linked the destructive power of wind to the adversities of life, means the parallel meaning is going on, and says that the weak people break down as the wind breaks weaker things, but strong people emerge out of adversities stronger. When you listen to the poem, you heard that the poet told you to build strong homes, means we have to build ourselves strong, we have to have a strong willpower. The poem gives an important message that we should be mentally tough and physically strong in order to survive the hardships of life. A weak person breaks down like a weak building and crumbles. We must make these destructive forces our friends with our strength and determination. Let's move on to the explanation of the poem. Wind, come softly. Don't break the shutters of the windows. Don't scatter the papers. Don't throw down the books on the shelf. In these lines, the poet directly talks to the wind. In fact, he makes an entreaty to the wind. Entreaty means request. He asks the wind not to break down the shutters of the windows. The shutters are the only thing that separate man from the stormy environment outside. So, in a way, the poet is asking the wind for protection. He also asks the wind not to scatter the papers in his room or to throw down the books from his bookshelves. It is pertinent for him to care about papers or books and for them to be the first things in his room that he doesn't want disorganized because he is a writer. Perhaps some of these papers also contain drafts of poems like this one, means the papers must be important for him. Hence, they are very important and he cannot afford to lose them. So, the poet is requesting the wind to not to throw down the books on the shelf, not to scatter the papers. There, look what you did. You threw them all down. You tore the pages of the books. You brought rain again. Who is you here? You is the wind. In these lines, the poet continues speaking to the wind. However, the tone he now uses to address the wind has changed from the tone he had been using in his first four lines of the poem. Here he takes on an accusatory tone, means he is blaming the wind. He gestures towards the mess in his room. He shows the wind that there is lot of mess in his room and tells the wind that it is he who is responsible for it. He shows the wind how he has thrown all the books down from the bookshelves with his force and torn pages out of those books as well. However, the poet does not restrict his vision only to inside of his house. Casting his gaze outside, he points outside. He also accuses the wind of having brought about rainfall with himself while approaching the poet's house. You are very clever at poking fun at weaklings, frail crumbling houses, crumbling doors, crumbling rafters, crumbling wood, crumbling bodies, crumbling lives, in fact, crumbling hearts. The wind god winnows and crushes them all. Poking fun means making fun of something. Weaklings, the people who are weak, weaklings. In these lines, the poet keeps speaking to the wind. Now his tone has once again undergone a change. While it is still accusatory, the blaming one, it has also become somber to some extent. Somber means sad and serious. The poet tells the wind that he makes mischief whenever he comes face to face with anyone who is too meek and mild to protest against his actions. Meek means coward, the one who gets afraid easily. The wind can tear down the doors, the rafters, or entire wooden houses altogether, as you had just seen in the pictures. This is the wind's overt action, leaving people without a roof over their heads or walls to keep them sheltered from the harsh world outside. However, the wind also has a covert action. To understand what the poet is talking about at this point, you can think back to how many Indian vernacular languages have a phrase about the wind blowing over someone's life and leaving a trail of disasters behind. What such an idiom implies that troubles we face in life come as suddenly as the wind and also leave in the same sudden way. Hinting at this, the poet says the wind can tear down weak bodies and fragile hearts. That is, difficulties in life can lead to loss of hope as well as loss of life. Whether such things will happen or not is all up to the wind god, says the poet. He won't do what you tell him. So come, let's build strong homes. Let's join the doors firmly. In these lines, the poet stops speaking to the wind and starts speaking to his readers. He tells his readers that the wind does not listen to anybody and that his actions are governed by him alone. Therefore, we cannot escape the ill effects the wind by appealing to the wind like he has been doing. Instead, we should build our homes on strong foundation and sure that our doors cannot be easily penetrated in order to save ourselves from the wind. What do we do when others don't listen to us? We start building ourselves firm. We start changing our behavior towards them. So, here in these lines, also, the poet is talking to reader, telling the reader to build strong homes. Practice to firm the body, make the heart steadfast. Do this, and the wind will be friends with us. Do this, and the wind will be friends with us. In these lines, the poet outlines some other ways in which his readers can save themselves from the wind. He says that we must make ourselves strong both physically and mentally. We must train our bodies and hearts to combat, to fight against, and resist the ill effects of the wind. If we are able to do this, then the poet thinks that we will no longer consider the wind an enemy. Instead, the wind will invite us to become his friend and we will be able to fearlessly accept his invitation. When we are able to do something properly, when we achieve something, then people also start coming towards us, people also start following us. But first, we have to make ourselves strong. Yes, the wind blows out weak fires, he makes the strong fires roar and flourish. In these lines, the poet describes how the wind has both bad effects and good effects. In order to elucidate on the bad effects of wind, he shows how the wind can blow out a fire if it is glowing with a weak force. However, if the fire is burning strongly, then the wind will not blow it out but make it fiercer. Thus, the wind can nurture that which is already strong. That means, parallelly, you have to make yourself strong, you have to make yourself steadfast so that no other force can crush you. Alright? His friendship is good. We praise him every day. Wind comes softly. In these lines, the poet comes to conclusion after weighing both the bad effects and good effects of the wind. He says that if we are strong, then the wind is a good friend for us to have, for he will increase our strength. He also says that we should sing our devotion to the wind god on daily basis. Finally, he asks for the wind to come to him softly. This may seem a bit cautious of him, but shows that he has thought out his address to the wind very well. He knows how the wind can strengthen him, can make him strong, but also knows that he must not overestimate his own strength or disrespect the wind god. To prevent himself from doing either, he asks the wind to come to him in a gentle manner. The poet has kept the wind on a pedestal. On a superior basis, he is comparing the wind to God. He says that wind is God and we praise wind every day. He adds that everything that is weak gets finished off in face of strong wind, and all the things that are strong flourish and grow to become stronger in presence of wind. He is giving us very important message that we should not feel bad that we are facing so many challenges and adversities in life. We should make ourselves physically and mentally strong to face these challenges. And once we are strong enough, we will overcome with challenges, we will become friends with them. Then we will be happy that we had these adversities, these hardships, because they help us make us stronger, they help us to become fast, steadfast, strong, and better. Here comes the end of the poem, but not the end of spirit. So keep your spirit get going, work hard, and end to the beautiful poem.